Hello, church. It is Thursday, April 18th, and I am a day later than I'd like to be in getting this out, but I haven't forgotten about it. And I'm excited about this week because we got a lot of really great questions in about the message from this past Sunday on Jesus, our coming King. And so the question that we're going to address this morning, it has to do with the 1,000-year reign of Christ. I mentioned that in the message, and the questioner says, hey, you said Jesus is going to return before the millennium, the 1,000-year reign. What's that about? Okay, so we're going to unpack that a little bit as much as we can in the 5 minutes we have here. There's generally three views that believers have come to over the years in talking about this and in reading through Scripture. There are people who believe in postmillennialism, which is the belief that Jesus is going to return after a 1,000-year reign, and that's not a real literal time period, that it's just a really long time that they believe in, and that Jesus will come back after we, and not he, has set up his kingdom on earth. That society is going to get better and better until we are, that the world is like heaven. And so that's one belief. There's another one called amillennialism, which is the belief that there's no literal millennium, that we are currently in the age of Jesus' enthronement, and that we're just living that out, and that one day Jesus will return, that there's no literal time period for that. And then there's premillennialism, which is what I believe is the case and what we talked about on Sunday, that Jesus is going to come back before a 1,000-year reign on earth. And that's the most accepted across the history of the church and even today. And I believe that there's the most biblical evidence for that. And so the reason I believe that that's the case, and we referenced Revelation chapter 20, verses 1 through 3, but really the whole chapter of Revelation 20 points that this is going to be a premillennial return, that Jesus is going to return to this earth before a 1,000-year reign on earth for us. So I would encourage you to take some time right now and read through Revelation chapter 20. And it'll just take you 2 minutes, but you'll get to read through there and you'll get to see how all of those things point and speak to Jesus coming back before a 1,000-year reign, a literal 1,000-year reign on earth. And then chapter 21 begins with saying, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth." And so there you see it. All of chapter 20 in Revelation points to the fact that Jesus is coming back and that he is going to reign on this earth for 1,000 years, with some pretty incredible stuff happening in those 1,000 years. Now, there's another reason why I believe that premillennialism is the correct viewpoint on this, and that's because it is the only one of these three, premillennialism, amillennialism, postmillennialism, that treats all of Scripture that concerns prophecy the same. And what I mean is that there's prophecy in Scripture that has already been fulfilled. There is prophecy in Scripture that is yet to be fulfilled. And what happens is in amillennialism and in postmillennialism, people who hold to those views tend to take the unfulfilled pieces of Scripture as kind of a spiritual kind of a thing that might happen in a way. But they take fulfilled prophecy that was given as prophecy and then fulfilled as literal, that was going to be fulfilled and it got fulfilled. And I think there's a problem with that. When we are given prophecy, it is meant to be fulfilled. God is going to fulfill it the way he says he's going to fulfill it. And it may not look exactly like what we think it will with our limited knowledge. It didn't look exactly always the fulfilled prophecies to the Christians in the Bible. When they were seeing prophecy fulfilled before them, it didn't look to them like what they understood it was going to happen, but it was exactly as Jesus said. It was literally how the prophets foretold. And so when we see these things happening, I believe that it's going to be premillennial. Previous prophecy was fulfilled literally, and I believe that the prophecy that has yet to be fulfilled will be fulfilled literally. We should expect the same, at least, from the God who doesn't lie to us, right? And so that's where we come on premillennialism. There's a whole other piece of this There's a piece where people like to talk about, well, is Jesus' return going to be pre-tribulation, mid-tribulation, or post-tribulation? So there's a whole other ball of wax in there. We don't have time for that today. Maybe we can get to that another time. But I hope it was meaningful to you. I hope you learned something new today, and I'm glad that we could share this time together. So until next time, be a witness.